Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how you can easily install a BIOS update on any computer using PowerShell script. The PowerShell that I wrote is actually detecting the model of the computer that you're deploying an image to, and it will install the BIOS update for that model. So let me show you the PowerShell, which I'm going to include um, at the end of this video. I'm going to upload it to the description part so you could download and make modification or changes based on your environment. But let me explain how this PowerShell works. So the first line is nothing but allowing the computer to run PowerShell script by setting up the execution policy unrestricted. The second line is disabling the BitLocker, which I don't believe, um, you know, you don't need it. For the MDT deployment, we don't need that line. The reason I added this because I also use this PowerShell script to update the BIOS on a remote computer by deploying this script to an endpoint. So for the particular for the reason of this video, we don't need that line, so that's why I put a number sign here to disable it. The third line is actually the detection logic, that it's detecting the model, and once the model is detected, uh, these lines can pick up the appropriate or the related BIOS based on the model, and they will install it from this location. Okay, I created a folder called BIOS update. I put it under the custom script under the scripts folder located on my deployment share. So this is basically it. So based on the model, one of these lines will be selected and will run during the deployment. But you have to be careful here. This name here is very important. It has to actually match exactly the same as the model that the script is running on. So how do we get the exact name of the model computer? It's very simple. You can run this command on the computer. For example, I ran it on my computer here. WMIC computer system get model. And that's the name. So you have to copy that. You have to copy this line and place it here for this model. For the next model, same thing. You open a command prompt, go to that computer, open a command prompt, and then get the model by running that command. Again, WMIC, computer system get model, and copy that model in front of this line. And then the path to where the BIOS is located and the name of the file of the BIOS. So, at the time of making this video, these are the latest BIOS for the Dell computers that I've downloaded from Dell. You might have different, manufacturer, if they're HP or whatever. You have to make sure that whenever you update or download, or even if you want to add another line for the different model, you have to make sure that you have the file name here added to the end of this line. The /s is making the installation silent. So that's pretty much it. So how do we deploy this? So that's the script. I'm going to put it aside. Go back to my MDT server. That's my MDT server. So before I get to talking about how I use this script, I'm going to show you the old-fashioned way, or the method that I was previously using. I'm going to soon get rid of because it's too much work. Why is it too much work? I'm going to show you why, and you will notice that why it's too much work. So previously, this is how I used to deploy BIOS. I created a BIOS folder, and then I created applications for every single model Dell computer that I have. And using the SQL Express on my MDT server, I had to add that application for each model, so it will be automatically selected and installed. You probably are familiar with this if you are already using it, so you know how much work that is and how hard it is to manage it. Sometimes you may forget to add, oh, I forgot to add the BIOS for this model. Or even if you didn't forget, still it's a lot of work. First you have to create an application, and then second you have to add it. Or if you don't have a SQL Express like I do, you may you might be using custom.ini. You know that is another way of doing it. And by that I mean you have to add a line under your custom.ini, for example, latitude 7270, and then say, okay, for this model, install this mandatory application, and that's the GUID of, for example, here is a driver. It could be, see, a BIOS. Oh, I mistype it. It's BIOS. Okay, so for this model, also install this mandatory application, and that's the GUID of that application. Okay, this is just an example. I just want to show you how it looks. And so that's one way of doing it. If you don't use SQL Express. The other way was using the SQL Express. So, but what we need to do is to make this much simpler, because there's so many things that we have to deal with, and I bet you probably miss a step here and there. And if that happens, then you have to come back and figure out, okay, why the BIOS didn't update. Oh, because I forgot to add these lines, because I forgot to add the model for to my custom.ini, or I forgot to add the application under the application, the BIOS that needs to be installed for this model, for example. So you get the point. It's very time consuming and it's fairly hard to manage. So how do we make it much simpler? This is how we do it. I just showed you the PowerShell script that it detects, and then it will install the file that needs to, the BIOS that it needs to be installed for that model. So all you need to do is to create one application. That's it. And here I show you. This is the application that I created, BIOS update all. And here you need to run this command, PowerShell.exe-file, and the name of the PowerShell script. That's the script that I just showed you at the beginning of the video. That's what I named it. So this PowerShell script will be performed here, and it will detect and install the BIOS for you. So you don't have to be worried about it. All you need to do is when you get the new BIOS, you just dump it into the folder, and then update your PowerShell script if the name is different. That's it. So, but here is another thing, pay attention to the path of where the files, the exe files, should be located. In my script, I put it on, under the scripts folder, under deployment share, under the custom.ini. I put them there. So you may want to put them somewhere else, but if you did that, then be careful. You need to update the PowerShell script to refer to the location of where the files are. Here is where the script folder is located under the deployment share, and this is the custom script, BIOS update, and these are all my BIOS files that I uploaded to this folder. And as I showed you before, the script is actually looking for those files under this path. So you got to make sure that the files are located here. And under this path, I only have the PowerShell script. That's it. So now that I have the package, the application, it's very simple. I can simply come back to the custom.ini, delete all this. Okay. If I don't, this is my older the custom.ini that I used to use, and then I switched to this SQL Express, but I kept it as a reference. But I'm just going to show you as an example that this is how it used to look if I wanted to just use the custom.ini. And with the new application, all you need to do is to add another line to your custom.ini mandatory application number, whatever, mine is 19. This is the GUID of the application. I'm going to show you how I got that number GUID, and then I name it what it is. It's the BIOS update all models. So I just add this to my custom.ini, and that's it. From now on, no matter what Windows I deploy, this is going to be one of my applications that's going to install on an endpoint. So the GUID number is here. So that's the application I created. Double click on it, and that's the GUID. Boom. You copy that and paste it in front of mandatory application equals the GUID number, and that's it. That's what you have it under the custom.ini. If you decided not to use custom.ini as mandatory application, another way of deploying this application is through your task sequence. That's possible, but again, you got to remember that whenever you create a task sequence, you got to remember that to add this application as a single application as one of the steps under your task sequence, so it will be installed. For example, let me show you what I meant. Windows 7, under my custom tasks, here I could select this, add install application, and then name it, for example, update BIOS, and then select a single application, and then browse to BIOS update all, and then select this, apply, and that's it. So I believe it puts it somewhere here. Yeah, you have to move it up. Couple more. And I have a restart, so it's better to put it before restart, for example. I'm not going to keep this. Like I said, I'm just going to show you what I meant by using the application installation in task sequence. So, yep, that's it. So right before restart, I'm updating the BIOS, and then I will restart. So the BIOS update will take the effect, and then once the computer is back up, you have the latest BIOS. But I don't want to keep this here, so I'm gonna just hit cancel. So as you see, it's fairly easy managing or updating the BIOS using this PowerShell script. It's very straightforward as long as you remember, keeping your PowerShell script up to date with the file names, and also the folder that has all the BIOS. If you download new one, dump it there under the scripts folder, under your deployment share, and that's it. One application will install the BIOS for pretty much all the models, and you don't have to be worried about anything else. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please leave me a comment or questions if you have. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And that's it. Take care, guys. Bye.